Copacabana is not just a beach inside Rio de Janeiro. It is a pressure valve. It is where Brazil negotiates with itself in public. The pavement alone tells you that. The black and white wave pattern along Avenida Atlântica was designed by landscape architect Roberto Boro Marx. But what most people do not realize is that it was adapted from Portuguese calcada patterns in Lisbon. It is colonial inheritance remixed into tropical modernism. Every day, teenagers skate across a design born from empire, redesigned by a Brazilian modernist, framed by high-rise apartments owned by families who lived through dictatorship, inflation, and economic resets. Copacabana is not scenery. It is layered memory under bare feet. What sets it apart from the rest of Brazil is its exposure. Sao Paulo hides its wealth in glass towers and private clubs. Salvador keeps its Afro-Brazilian power in ritual spaces and neighborhood networks. But Copacabana performs. It has always been an international stage. When the Copacabana Palace opened in 1923, it was built to attract European aristocracy who were skeptical of South America. The hotel became a diplomatic tool long before Instagram existed. Foreign ministers, film stars, oil executives, revolutionaries, everyone passed through that lobby. That culture of spectacle never left. The beach itself is unusually democratic for such a globally recognized strip of sand. In most countries, prime waterfront becomes privatized. Here, the beach is public by law. That legal framework shapes psychology. Young people grow up with the understanding that some of the most valuable land in the country belongs to everyone. It creates a subtle but powerful contrast with the gated communities rising in Barra da Tijuca. Sorry, my pronunciations are not always going to be great in certain countries. Youth in Rio see inequality physically. Open sand on one side, armored condominiums on the other. Copacabana also carries an aging population that many outsiders miss. It is one of the neighborhoods in Rio with the highest percentage of elderly residents. Retirees who survived hyperinflation in the 1980s share sidewalks with teenagers filming TikToks about funk music. The tension between nostalgia and acceleration is constant. Young cariocas are not rebelling against tradition and abstraction, they are arguing with it in elevators. The youth culture here is not only about carnival, it's about ballet funk, about digital entrepreneurship, about crypto trading from a phone while sitting on a beach chair rented by the hour. Brazil has one of the highest rates of social media usage in the world, and Rio's youth are hyper-visible online. They remix global trends instantly. A dance from Atlanta appears on Copacabana sand within hours. A slang term from Rio can circulate back to Portugal or Angola through diaspora networks. The relationship is no longer colonial, it's circular. Politically, Brazil sits in a peculiar space. It is part of BRICS, alongside countries like Russia, India, China, and South Africa. That alliance signals a desire to operate outside traditional Western power structures. At the same time, Brazil maintains deep trade relations with the United States and the European Union. For young Brazilians in Rio, geopolitics is not abstract. It influences job markets, exchange rates, and the cost of imported electronics. When the real weakens against the dollar, it is felt immediately in Copacabana shops. There is also a subtle pride in being unclassifiable. Brazil is Western, but not quite. Latin, but not Hispanic, African in rhythm, European in language, indigenous in land memory. In Rio, this ambiguity becomes a brand. Other countries increasingly look at Brazil's cultural export power with interest. Music genres born in favelas reach global charts. Fashion brands draw from Brazilian beach aesthetics. Wellness culture borrows from capoeira circles and forced spirituality without always acknowledging origin. Copacabana's New Year's Eve celebration, Réveillon, draws millions dressed in white. The ritual offering of flowers to Yemenia, the Afro-Brazilian sea deity, is a quiet assertion of syncretism in a country often described as Catholic. It is less known that these offerings coexist with evangelical growth that has reshaped Brazilian politics. Youth in Rio are navigating that religious shift. Some are leaving traditional Catholicism for evangelical churches. Others are returning to Afro-Brazilian practices as cultural resistance. Spiritual identity has become political language. Brazil's recent political polarization is played out in Rio's streets. Demonstrations supporting and opposing former President Bolsonaro filled avenues that also host pride parades and carnival blocos. The same asphalt carries competing visions of